Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're back here at my favorite filming spot because guess what? Get the party hats out, get the noisemakers, and light the candles. It's time to celebrate. And how do we do it here on Raiti's Rides? We do it in on-throttle style with this car. This is it. This is a 2024 Toyota Supra, but guess what? This is a special 45th anniversary edition. Supra turns 45 years old. Kind of crazy. But before we get into this rear-wheel drive, manual transmission equipped Supra, let's talk about what's going on here. So originally, remember, the Supra was not its own vehicle. It was literally a modded Celica, the Celica Supra. Eventually, the Supra got its own platform. That would be the Mark III. And then, of course, we can't forget about the iconic Mark IV. Now, Lori and I were at the Detroit Auto Show in 2019 when they debuted the Mark V Supra. That makes it the 5th gen. And what's interesting is that a lot of people were hating on it. The good news is I think most of those people have either gone on to bigger and better things or have kind of gotten over it when it comes to the style, when it comes to what's powering it. Now, it's nice to still see the Supra name around. Another Japanese iconic legend who's also celebrating some history is, of course, Nissan with the Z car. And they have their special Z Heritage Edition. So what I want to find out is, if you're looking for that little something extra that makes your sports car special, do you go with the 45th Anniversary Edition Supra, or do you go with the Heritage Edition Z? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our Supra and find out. Right off the bat, you're gonna have two colors to choose from when you go 45th anniversary. We have the Mycon Blast, which should just be called Orange Blast because of that bright orange metallic paint job glistening in the Florida sun. Or you could go with Absolute Zero, which is a matte metallic paint job, which is white. Those are your two color options. Now, when you go Heritage Z, one color only, and it's gonna be that solar orange. So interesting how they both brands chose orange to be the celebratory color for their respected vehicles. Interesting. Now, at the front of the business, we've already beaten the dead horse to death 20 times over. You're gonna get a bunch of fake vents. I mean, there's no which way around it. So you do have your fake vent here. I'm not gonna zonk them all, but I am just gonna reiterate where those are located. You do have your full LED headlight display with your daytime running lamp. And I really do dig the style of the headlight housing. If you cover up this portion, it sort of looks like it's off of a Mark IV, like the modern interpretation of a Mark IV, but they decided to kind of just extend it a little further into the nose. On the lower side, you do have some extra aero pieces in that matte black. You got that canard that comes out of the splitter as it curves up onto the fender. And then you're gonna have some functionality for the heat exchangers in your corner, but it's a 50-50 because this part's functional, this part is not. Now, as we come across the nose, I'm okay with it. I don't mind this area, and I could see where with that FT86 concept that they had a few years prior to this car coming out, this is where you really see that. So I like the way they sculpted the center section, the Toyota badge, full functionality in the center, and then that splitter extends all the way. And I like the way they don't have any body color on the lower portion. It really gives it a nice, sharp, aggressive look. Now, when you compare this to the Nissan Z, the Nissan Z doesn't have any fake vents. So interesting to see how that was played. The Nissan Z is a little wider. It's a little bit longer than the Toyota Supra. So you kind of have to ask yourself, what are you really looking for out of your Japanese sports car? But let me know what you think about the front of this Supra in this orange blast of a color. Now, as we rise up, same hood as before, nice and sleek. I do love the way they kind of carve those peaks into the fenders. Well, top of the hood that forms the fender. You don't actually have a separate top portion of the fender. And then you can see the sparkle. Nice metal flake. Interesting, the difference in the two oranges. They're not exactly the same between the Nissan Heritage Edition and this one. The Heritage Edition is more of just a regular non-metallic glossy orange. This one, they definitely sprinkled some of that magic dust in there. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire stuff. So when you go 45th anniversary, you're getting the matte black wheels. I do like the multi-spoke design, especially the way they hollow out the edges of the spokes. For the first time, the GR badge is actually on the caliper. Normally that says Supra, but on the 45th anniversary, that GR, because this is a GR Supra, you do have it on those 4-piston calipers up front. Rotors are about 14 inches in diameter. And then of course, you have that special tuned suspension all 4 corners. Now, wheels are gonna be 19 inches in diameter all the way around. The Z Heritage also has 19-inch wheels. Tires up front are 255 on the width, 35 series sidewall. Let me know what you think about the color of the wheel, the caliper, with our orange blast. It would have been cool if they painted the calipers orange. But guess what? Nissan beat them to the punch. They actually did that on the Heritage Edition. Now, as we rise up, I'm gonna have Lori spin around. I love the way this looks, but it's fake. Would have been nice if that was a functional heat extractor. The 45th anniversary is gonna have your additional gloss black vinyl stripe with the Supra name nicely placed in. It gives it a nice extra touch. You're gonna have matte black on the mirror caps with a little bit of gloss, your LED turn signals, and like before on the different models, they always black out the A-pillar. And of course, this is a 3.0 Supra. And I'll explain what the heck that means if you're confused. It's not your GPA back when you were in high school. We know that was lower. It has to do with what's underneath the hood. The way they shape the roof with that double bubble so that you can get your helmet on if you're gonna do your track day. Smaller on the outside, the Supra compared to the Z. It's also smaller on the inside, but we'll get to that in a second. Color match on your door handles. And then you do have your fake vent. I've always thought, wouldn't it be cool if they kind of ripped that off and put the vent into the fender and just got rid of this whole piece? I think that really would have cleaned up the look. But I do like the side skirt extension, especially the way that it pitches up and flows air over the rear. And speaking of the rear, 19-inch wheels in diameter, like I said, but you're getting a little bit more rubber to meet the road because this is rear-wheel drive, just like the Z. So you're looking at 275 on the width, that nice sidewall with Pilot Super Sport tires. The problem is I don't get the fancy calipers like I did up front. So that's a zonk. At least on the Z Heritage, they have the same beefy calipers all 4 corners. But what I do like on this Supra is this right here. Love the way they flare out that fender into the rear. Man, oh man, that looks good. And I just, like I said, looking in your side view mirror, it just gives it a great little perspective. And you're just like, she looks good. Now for your 45th anniversary, you're getting a trim specific rear spoiler. And this is actually manually adjustable. You see these screws, these bolts, and then Lori's gonna show the nuts on the other side for the bolts. Get your mind out of the gutter, everybody. This is actually adjustable depending on what you're trying to do downforce wise. So that's nice that it is adjustable. It's pedestal style. Let me know what you think about it. It's interesting because back at SEMA, back in 2019, they had their SEMA build and it had the Mark IV Supra rear spoiler on the back. Would you rather have that than this guy? Let me know what you think in the comment section, but it is gloss black to match the gloss black A-pillar. And then working our way down, love the way they do the Supra taillights, all LED of course. You got the GR badge, Gazoo Racing, handles all of the motorsports for Toyota. Even the way they did the Supra badge with the silver behind it gives it a nice pop. It almost just pops right out of the back. And then down to ground level, you have that dual outlet exhaust, stainless steel tip, with a crazy diffuser, and the way that they did the reverse lights makes it look like lighting off of a Formula One car for when they turn on their rain lights. So kind of cool that they did that. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood, and I'll explain what the heck 3.0 means with this special anniversary edition Supra. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have your hood struts. Like I mentioned, the top of the hood is also part of the fender, the top portion of the fender. I like the way they add the Toyota Supra badge there, and it's kind of cool how you have your VIN there that's stamped into the actual bodywork. Now, underneath the hood, this is the biggest difference with this 45th anniversary edition. You're actually getting this beefy strut top brace, and I like the way that they powder coated it orange, and underneath here is our adaptive damper, obviously one on each side, and then you have the black portion with the GR badge, the Gazoo Racing, to stiffen up the front end. But what do we have underneath that tasteful engine cover? Like I said, 3.0, what does it mean? It's not your GPA. It's a 3-liter straight 6 turbocharged engine. It's a single turbo, not a twin turbo like the Mark IV. It produces 382 horsepower, 368 pound-feet of torque. You could get an 8-speed automatic, or we have the 6-speed manual. If you know how to dance on your twinkle toes, 0 to 60 in about 3.7 seconds, quarter mile in 12.6 seconds at 116 miles an hour. The car is governed to 161 miles per hour. MPGs 19 in the city, 27 on the highway, and the vehicle weighs right around 3,300 pounds. Now, if you're comparing this to the Nissan Z has a 3-liter engine as well. It's 6 cylinders, but it's a V6 instead of a straight 6, but it has twin turbochargers, puts out 400 horsepower. You can get a 9-speed automatic or also a 6-speed manual. And what you're gonna find is that because the Z is a little bit larger, it is a little bit heavier. But why don't we go ahead, we got this special anniversary Supra. I'm gonna get my party hat on and let's see this thing roll through the gears and hear what it sounds like. Hi guys, happy birthday to the Supra. Happy birthday to the Supra. I'll leave it, I'll stop there. Anyways, we're inside this 45th anniversary Supra. And I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I'm kind of digging this anniversary edition. I want to have something extra special, especially when I roll into Cars and Coffee or do my track day or my autocross event. And I feel like this orange kind of fits my personality. How much is it? Very good question. So a 3.0 premium, so a regular Supra 3.0 premium that this one is based off of is right around $58,000. This one has an MSRP of $65,000. So you're paying around 7 G's for the color, for the vinyl, and for the rear wing. And the special number plate, because remember, this is one of just 900 that they're making. But let's see how it stacks up to the Heritage Z, to the door panels. I do like the clean style. You got your JBL sound system. That gloss black actually has some metallic in it by the window switchgear, which hides your fingerprints really good. And then the armrest is nicely padded with some contrast stitching. The zonk is that door pocket is barely wide enough for 4 Pop-Tarts, and that's it. Now going from the door panel to the dash, more of that contrast stitching. Here's where you could see the BMW influence, but like I said, we're past that. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. Slide on in. You have your floating iPad style 8.8-inch infotainment system, your navigation, all those touches. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, why doesn't it have Toyota's multimedia software. It's because this is a BMW, straight from BMW. Straight. You do hit the home button, and then you can swipe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my vehicle. We're going to go into vehicle settings, and one of the things I want to show you in particular is going to be that right there. Thank you, Lori, for helping me. You have your driving dynamic. And this is where you could set up your preferential settings for the suspension, the steering, the engine, and you can either turn on or off the automatic downshift revving feature, so you don't have to heel toe yourself. That's probably the most important part. I'll throw it into reverse. Backup camera is clear as day, just very small. That's, if you've ever been told that, I'm sorry, it's just too small, they're going to tell you that about your backup camera. But other than that, very easy to use infotainment system. That's where we started at right there. Working our way down, all BMW influence, BMW with the buttons, BMW with your dual climate control. You do have 3 stages of heated seats, but no ventilated seats, and you can thank BMW for that. Down below, you do have your wireless charging, a USB-A, a 12 volt. You better run a radar detector. I do like the use of carbon fiber. You got your BMW direct drive control knob. To put it in sport mode, it's real simple. You just hit sport. That's it. That's all you got. That's your mode. And then this is where the magic happens. So remember how your parents told you to knock before you just came in to their bedroom? That's because they were making the magic happen. That's where your sisters and your brothers came from, and that's where you came from. This is where you get to make the magic happen. That 6-speed manual transmission. Love the way it's got the GR logo right on top there with your gear pattern. It is a BMW transmission, but Toyota swears that they chose all the individual gearing to be specific for the Supra. But I like the nice crisp engagement, and it does have very fairly short throws. So can't wait to go down the twisty bits with you. We got 2 cup holders that are just open. They're just open, and there's your Toyota key fob. Guess what? It's a BMW key fob, but I'm trying not to get into that. All your buttons on the back. Seats, I love them. I just wish, where's my orange in here? Where's like a 45th anniversary badge or a special badge or something, or some orange stitching? But you do have nice bolstering, power assist for the passenger, power assist for the driver. But what I want to show you is over here behind the wheel of this Supra. Come on over. Let me show you what you'll be staring at when you go on throttle in this 45th anniversary edition. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. This part of the Supra is probably the part you're going to hate the most, because I tend to hit my head on it. And I think most people, when they're getting in and out, if they're not used to this car, will hit their head on this piece. This is where you don't have that curve down in the Z. It's a easier in and out. Just something I want to point out. But once you're in like Flynn, and it feels good. You just got to get in first. Now, you got a large aluminum sill plate with the Toyota Supra name looking good. Pedal box also looks good. Aluminum clutch, brake, and throttle. And of course, you could do your heel toe downshifting all day long. I just wish I had an aluminum dead pedal instead of this plastic one. Seat controls, you do have 2 memory seat settings for the driver's seat. This is all BMW. Seats, the bolstering up top is great. I could use a little bit more on the bottom, just a little bit more, but at least there's some there. Some cars, they don't even have any. Better bolstering, I think, in this car, though, than in the Z. And then the steering wheel, I don't like it. I've never liked it. It looks like a steering wheel from a bumper car. Very large horn button. I wish it had the Supra badge here. And then where's my orange stitching? This is the special anniversary edition, but you do have contrast stitching. It is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And I do like the digital display that they give you. So let me show you, this is non-sport. So you have the orange with the tach and your gear indicator. And then when you go into sport, now it's red. So easy to read, easy to understand, and you have a head-up display. But why don't we go ahead, let's show off the cargo area, because I'm ready to go on throttle in this Supra. All right, guys, cargo area time. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the old key fob out, pop it like it's hot, flip it up, and there is our cargo space. You actually have about 12 cubic feet of space, which is pretty darn good for a sports car. On this shelf here, you have your subwoofers, and underneath this is a rear strut top brace to stiffen up the rear of the vehicle. I like the way on the Anniversary Edition we have the bright orange, starburst orange on your embroidery here. That's worth an extra 5 horsepower. And you have large nooks for those track day Twinkies. But as you look up top, there's that strut top brace I was telling you about. Stiffen up the front of the vehicle. But why don't we go ahead, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's put the rubber down on the road and go on throttle together in this GR Supra. All right, guys, we're inside this Anniversary Edition 2024 Toyota Supra 3.0. I have it in sport mode, manual transmission. Here we go, on throttle. Nice. On those brakes. All the way out to 7,000 RPM. Brakes feel good. Turn in is so crisp in these things. So let's talk about what's going on here. The thing with the Supra is, once you get inside and you're strapped in, it's actually very, very potent. Steering is very quick. It's like you think it and you're already turning much faster than a Nissan Z. And the balance is really, really good. You have that limited slip diff, getting the power to the ground out back. And it just, I don't know, it just feels like it's wrapped around you a lot better than the Nissan Z. The Nissan Z, the non-Nismo version, has more body roll and is definitely not as quick acceleration-wise as this Supra. The Supra, acceleration-wise, is phenomenal. I don't like the BMW pumped-in sound. It's a little too fake for my taste. Not my favorite. I wish I was hearing more of the glorious exhaust notes out the back. And the gearbox, it's good. It just, for some reason, BMW gearboxes have a little bit of a rubbery feel to them, and they're not as crisp as other gearboxes. I would say the 6-speed manual in the Z is better. It's a better gearbox. Both have automatic rev match downshift, which is good. And both are just straight up 2-seat sports cars. Talk about the interior is definitely nicer in the Supra. The seats feel phenomenal. I like the steering wheel better in the Z. But like I said, once you get in, visibility is not as bad as what you would think out the front windshield. The spoiler only blocks vision just a little bit. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Second gear. On throttle, here we go. Look at this, look at the balance. Woohoo! It really allows you to know what the front end is doing grip-wise, and it holds a line very, very well. I mean, it changes transitions. Like through that left-right transition, it changes direction so effectively. That's where the Z falls short. Z Nismo, they corrected all that. But for the Z Performance, this is the better driving car. It's the faster car. It's just, I like the look of the Z more, and I like the interior more overall. But I'll show you how easy it is to make a U-turn. I mean, the turning radius on this car is great. I mean, look at this. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, not a problem. But if you're ready, I'm definitely ready. Once again, let's shut off that traction control. Holding it down, holding it down. Here we go. Smoke them if you got them. On throttle, here we go, yeah! brakes are good. Grip is good. Just the sound is a little off-putting. But look at it. Look at the way it changes directions. Look at that. Then holds a line so well. Woo, on the brakes. The thing is that the chassis stays so stable. When you're on the brakes, you're not getting nosedive. When you're getting on throttle, the tail isn't dipping, and you're definitely not getting any major rocking left and right. With the Z, you get a bit of that. And that kind of hurts my feelings. But with this, it's like you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and she just takes it. And I can appreciate that. It makes me feel confident. It makes me feel good. The gauge instrumentation is so easy to see at a glance. I wish, one of my zonks driving wise is I wish that the tach was in the head-up display when you go into sport mode. I don't need the speed limit sign, and I don't need my speedometer. We don't need that in the HUD. I need the tach. And I want to rip this BMW-esque infotainment system right off the dash. Not my favorite. I do like I said, I think that's one of the reasons why I like the interior of the Z better, is I just like the way the dash is more integrated. The triple gauges up top just look more that classic sports car look. This just kills the look of the dash, that screen size up there. Guys, one more time for you. Definitely one more time for me. I wish they would have brought some of this orange to the interior. That would have really made it extra special. But what makes it extra special for me is the manual transmission and the on throttle. You ready? Smoke them if you got them. On throttle, here we go. Yeah! Now we're talking. Now we're talking. A little bit of pop and exhaust out the back. This is where it gets good. Look at this. Woo! So hooked up. So hooked up. Love it. You just rev out that freaking straight six turbocharged engine. Balanced. I mean, it allows you to put the car wherever you want, how you want it, and it responds so well. If you're wondering, Joe, did they get rid of the buffeting with the windows down? No. That's another big zonk. Major buffeting when the windows are down. And if you think about that, track days, autocross events, you must have your windows down. That's something here in the United States that they do as a safety precaution, is having the side windows down. And that's gonna create that extra buffeting. But I love the gearbox in the sense that it's so easy to hit each individual gear, especially second to third. Very, very crisp in that sense. I just wish it had a little bit better feel. And what I mean by that is less of that rubbery sensation that modern BMW gearboxes, their manual transmission, for whatever reason, whether it's in this car, a Z4 or whatever, has, for whatever reason, that little extra kind of rubbery sensation that's not my favorite. But I'm glad it's here. I'm glad you were sitting in the passenger seat with me. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up like a big Christmas present. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, another great day. I mean, any day with a manual transmission sports car is gonna be a great day. That's just the way it works. But we gotta thank everybody over at Toyota USA for getting us access to this special anniversary edition. One of 900 45th anniversary edition models of the Toyota Supra. Let me know what you think. Are you going special Supra, or do you wanna go special Z? how you spending your money in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. Got to get up to LGR. She loves any car with a manual. She actually would love to get a Hakone Edition GR86. So that's very interesting as well. But thank you, Lori, for your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.